everybody. Welcome to Lessons Learned. CovrPrice is monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly video.
It's every other week we do this. Gary does the other 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Where we talk about what happened on our top 10, our data-driven top 10 a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and see how they're doing today. We're joined by the good friends of the show, Mr. Lando over at Black Crown. Hey, Lando.
What's going on, guys, man? Yo, Phil, the Star-Lord mask.
We had Star-Lord, and then he left.
He threw us all off.
Guys all lost.
I love it. But guys, thank you so much for inviting me tonight. I'm excited because I think we all have learned some lessons within this hobby through time, and we are definitely going to jump back in time tonight to go through all that learning that we've done. So, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we're also here with Mr. One True Nerd King, Phil himself. How you doing, Phil?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me. And I like to stress the conservative word and usage Lando gave us of the word some lessons. We've learned so many lessons. So there's that's the beauty of our good friend here's modesty. When he brings this up, it is 100%. We've been through some shit, okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
We've seen it. This is like
you would think
Vietnam,
people
bro.
learn their lesson, but historically, people have never. They just don't. They don't.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that because, heck, people like to buy what they want to buy. So, this
is why I have a Star-Lord helmet.
Yeah.
but I mean, the whole point of like what this reflective and this weekly article that we do, and then the show that we're now doing, is kind of just to tap into what the top 10 was. Remember, like the top 10 is not our picks. It's not a what to buy. It's a reflection of what was purchased the week of. The stuff that the market was chasing and caused to trend. It's usually a mixture of both volume and sales prices. And whatever that mixture is creates that like heat trend. And that's what the top 10 is. It's pretty much what people were gravitating towards during this week. And now we're going back 3 years ago into 2021.
Woo, time machine set.
Even in 2024, I'm scratching my head on some books. Guys, no books are back. So there you go.
Anything can happen.
But that will be some of the top level stuff we'll talk about here, because there is a bigger discussion on this stuff, and we'll go through a lot of it one by one. I mean, but you go back to 2021. I mean, it was considered a high watermark for the industry. Everyone now always refers back to 2021 as this magical time and place when prices were flowing, everything was selling for premiums, and now that doesn't exist anymore.
Just many years ago, it was the good old days already, right?
It was the good old days already. And technically, I mean, that's kind of the discussion, is technically it wasn't. It's just it's all tied to content. But it was one of those, we were also still in post-COVID, right?
It was COVID boom 2021.
Yeah, I mean, it was just coming like where kind of life was coming back to normal a little bit, not fully yet, but we were like creeping towards it. Yeah. But it was also like content we were getting to look forward to Hawkeye with the Hawkeye TV series, and we were getting, I mean, there was all this stuff that was trending. There was like Marvel Zombies that was trending. We had Ronin was coming back to Hawkeye.
Yep.
There was all these option comic books, and we'll get into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that intro, we also have a little giveaway, a little thank you for you guys for joining last minute and joining this live stream.
See, we don't even advertise this, that you get like free books.
What nice guys.
And just for the people that do know, because some of my followers I'm seeing ask questions. So we are doing a dual stream. CovrPrice has a show with these 4-year look backs. Yeah. And when they invited me, since Theo was out with the kids tonight, I figured I could go hang out with other people I know for the evening. There you go. And you guys would still be entertained for the night. So
hey comics and kiosk folks, how's it going? Well, I mean, I guess they're in it too, right? Can they put their
You
the entry on
you
both?
should be able to do
Okay.
everything. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Lame
Yeah,
excuse
throw it
there.
up, John. I have the physical copy here. We'll do a little preview, and you can.
Oh,
Boom. Let's see if I can put Matt in the front there. Boom.
There you go.
We also have an image on it if you want to pop it up. It's the moon is following us. It's the 1 in 15. It is quite popular. So it's a good.
All right.
Good.
So the moon is following
Can you pop it
us.
up right now?
That's a cool cover.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll throw in the first print too.
So wait till the end of the show, and we'll give you a little hashtag. And what you'll do is type that into the comment section, and that'll enter you. And then we'll do a drawing for this at the end.
Yeah,
That is a
Yay.
nice book.
yeah.
That is, yeah. What's the moon is following us about? Does anyone know? I didn't.
Well, it's Daniel Warren Johnson who is killing it on Transformers. Pretty much anything he does has been good. Like, I don't know if you guys read Do a Powerbomb, but it was probably my favorite thing I read like when it came out. It was
so it's funny you mentioned that because the second print of this book is on FOC right now. Obviously, FOC has come to close at this
missed
time.
it.
But
Sorry, buddies.
yeah, exactly. But they did a Transformers 1 homage cover with the
fun.
font looking a lot like Do a Powerbomb. I don't know. It just gave me that vibe.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Do a
Yeah.
Powerbomb is I'll say it, one of those comic books that made me cry at the end. It is that good at the end.
The thing is, Matt cries at all comic books, though. So it's
Yeah.
like-
Every single freaking comic book, every time, after every Transformer comic. Yeah.
I'm always consoling
I'm a
him.
sensitive guy, guys.
It's weird. It's weird.
Lemire gets me every time, though. I'll tell you that.
Which one?
Lemire.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. He's always killing his folks off. So number 10, let's just jump into it. And this one hits a little hard, 3 years later because we lost at
Red
Pittsburgh, last year. So I mean, it is quite a crazy cover because that's Jim Rugg for you, right? This is like great Jim Rugg. It's a 1 in 10 homage to obviously Spawn #1. But the late cartoonist Ed Piskor, he started self-publishing the gory Red Room in 2020, garnering enough buzz for Fantagraphics to pick it up and then publish 3 volumes. So even though with a small print run, Red Room attracted a lot of collectors with variants like this, they did a lot of homage variants to this, and the book was an insane read. If you haven't read it, it's crazy. It's a little snapshot into the mind of Ed Piskor.
Yeah.
And in 2021, this book was like super hot. This time in 2021, it was hitting $48 raw. And that was, you couldn't find a copy. And then of course there's no greatest hits, but it did hit a high of $85 about a year later in May of 2022. So 3 years later, unfortunately, we lost Ed. And that kind of stopped this book, and it has affected the values of Red Room overall, since we're not getting it anymore. And that dropped this to the current fair market value of $16, and 9.8 you can get for $50. And so on paper, this is a bust 3 years later, but I mean, a lot of people pick up Spawn homages all the time. Like, this is one of those books that's not going to be easy to find, but I would love to hear what you guys think about it.
Go ahead, Phil.
Brother. I'll let you lead, Lando.
All right. Well, I'm happy you actually mentioned the fact that the book itself gives you a glimpse into the mind of Ed, right? Like, the artwork alone within the book, if you guys didn't read it, like, just the artwork alone is mind-blowing. I love the work within the book. It is unfortunate with the passing, and it's funny, and well, not funny, but when he did unfortunately pass, you did see a little bit of a spike within his books, right? A lot of people were trying to gather up some of that on the aftermarket, and it tends to happen, of course, with such events, unfortunately. But regardless, the book itself, like you said, the Spawn covers, the homages, people are always going to seek that. So I think of Red Rooms, I would say the issue #1 should do relatively well in time, and this one right here as well, given that it's a Spawn homage.
Absolutely.
No, it was I read the first issue. I did not get beyond that. The first Red Room, that
It's
was
hard.
well, I mean, it was in my I get everything indie phase, right? So it's like if it was on the indie rack, I picked it up. kind of scenario. And it was something that I didn't really even get to read, though. Even after I picked it up, it went in the to be read pile, right? We've all got one. We've all got it. We've all got a pile of, you know, like, and all of a sudden it was nearly, it was months and months later that I even read it. And by that time I was just kind of like, well, you know, maybe I'll come back to it. And it was just one of the many different things that by that time I tried to whittle myself down to 5 a week as opposed to 50. Right. So yeah, no, but it was a great read. But yeah, I would definitely, it is a shame what happened with Ed, 100%. But
yeah, but if you really want some of his like peak art, in my opinion, at least, I think Red Room, the interiors are just insane.
I mean, I really do feel like he was just warming up with this series.
Exactly.
You know, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. And being an issue 4, it's a harder book to find. It's, you know, of course it's, and Jim Rugg has his own fan base, and really a lot of people aren't paying close attention, enough attention to Jim. His art is really stylistic and really him. This is, even though it's down again, now's a good time to kind of take another look at it, because
absolutely $49 US, that is nothing for a 9/8. I think that's more than fair.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, even though it's a bust and prices are down, the opportunity, the silver lining is you can pick it up.
Yeah.
I think you guys said pretty much everything. I have nothing to add.
All right.
Except amazing. Like, I love homage covers. Spawn, when done right, is everywhere. I mean, like, you're just writing lightning with that, so it's like it's awesome to see that just kind of explored even further. Nothing much to add beyond that. Number 9.
Number 9.
All right, number 9.
This is one of my, I love this book. This was actually one of my favorite reads of this time frame. It kind of just, I love what they did with it. It kind of got a little too campy when they kept milking it a little bit afterwards, but the Ultimate Zombies, the Marvel Zombie storyline was fantastic.
Yep.
But at this, we got a little snippet of it in the What If Disney episodes that featured the Marvel Zombies, and it was fantastic. Like, the What If stuff was some of the best TV content that Marvel has put out. And now they announced at this time that they were going to do a miniseries with Marvel Zombies, which we know is now coming out. Yep. Back then, this was a Mark Millar book written, and he introduced Marvel Zombies in Ultimate Fantastic Four 21, and then 22 saw the introduction of the official zombified Marvel universe, where Magneto was leading like a band of survivors against an army of dead Marvel superheroes. And after that episode shot up, people were like, oh, taking notice of Marvel Zombies, and this was going for $70 raw, $600 in a 9.8. 3 years later, we know that Marvel Zombies is coming. I've been told directly by some of the producers on it that it's fantastic, and they're really excited about it. So, like today, now it's $16, $211 and a 9.8. If it's as successful as it sounds like it's going to be, even though it's a bust, I think it's going to bounce back up. But what do you guys think?
Absolutely. This is totally coming back up, guys. Again, when it's in your face, it's like, oh, I need it now, right? But then after, when it's no longer there, the phase has passed. Look what happens. We see these books come down. When it comes to Marvel Zombies, I always go for the 3 of them. I don't grab just that issue. You go 21, 22, 23.
And that's
the way to do it. Yeah, exactly. It's the way to do it. And like Matt just said, it's gonna come back, and I'm personally stoked for that. So this is an absolute pickup right now.
I mean, it's just a good book as a collector. Like, it's that story is so good.
Guys, I'm the only Canadian on this panel. $10 Canadian is what I just picked up that issue for, so you can tell it's relatively cheap.
It's all right. We won't hold the Canadian thing against you. It's all right. It's all right.
So again, it's all time it is way down, and I don't think this was this was a content bump. It wasn't necessarily right in the highs of 2021. It was a content bump. Where people just woke up to Marvel Zombies and all needed a copy at the same time. And pure economics always plays in this stuff. Supply and demand. When there's no supply, demand it's gonna in demand side, those prices are gonna go up.
Whenever we do the show, we always get people saying, we just had someone say like, "Oh, this show makes me sad sometimes." And the thing is, think of it this way: it's lessons learned. We're not just forgetting what happens in the industry. We're trying to educate. We're trying to showcase. And just as like Lando and Matt and Phil were saying, like this one had its peak. It's going down. More content, more information is coming out. It's going to shoot back up. Who doesn't like zombies, especially when they're superhero zombies or villains? And well, I guess if you're a zombie, you become a villain. So I guess it's a superhero villains.
And just to go back a little bit, so this is just to give some perspective. Before the episode hit, this was selling for $140 in a 9.8. 160 like in like 20, it was like 130 in 2017. The content did give it a bump, and it stayed higher than it was pre-content. So content did give it a nice little bump, and it did stay there a little bit. It just couldn't sustain that $600 high, because it's again supply and demand. When one sale happens or the heat starts, everyone starts releasing their copies like they're doves, and they release them to eBay, and all of a sudden supply overwhelms demand, right? And it's just pure economics. Then sellers start competing, and they lower the prices. It happens with every single piece of content book. So it's like, it's important to remember, it's not that people they dislike the book and they don't see the value in it. It's just, you can right now go to eBay and you can probably find a ton of copies. It's just because that's the nature. It's like a calling card for these books, and it's a calling card for people to go out and find the books. And then people like discover, oh, I found 20 copies sitting in like at this local comic shop, and then they put those copies out online, and that supply grows. It happens with almost every book. But
great ecosystem. Yeah. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, this book is 100% going to bounce back. It's not fair when we have to compare anything to 2021 numbers in a lot of ways. Right now, it's just like that's the worst part of the 4-year look back. It was to 2021. If it was any other year, it would feel a little bit more like that's not bad. That's not bad. But ultimately, though, the zombies are getting their own series. We know there's going to be a lot of action there. It's going to be, the same kinds of team that was working on our favorite recent X-Men 97, and we've got that animation style coming from What If. So it's going to be a banger for sure, and it's going to definitely go up. It's one of those books that I'm glad I've kept, and if I see somebody getting rid of it for a stupid low price, that's one of the ones I feel comfortable picking up, because honestly, it's as you said, everybody loves zombies, and you give them superpowers, and it's just, game on. It's you can't stop that.
Such a fun idea. So just a fun story to be involved in.
And just to remember, like that time frame, they were printing it on this weird gloss, like for all the Ultimate titles. Yeah, and it was but it was very thin, like a very thin gloss style paper, and it just dinged up like crazy. So to find high grade copies is actually pretty difficult.
That's something we don't talk about a lot, but like there's been so many printing changes in comic history. Everything from like, I don't know, lenticular to hologrammy stuff to foil to regular cover to cardboard, like not card, paperboard or backboard or what do they call it?
Yeah, and
all that stuff.
Whatever Marvel's printing on now, because anyways,
it's there's so many variants or variables to a good collectible, and it's when you think of supply and demand, the paper that was printed on actually impacts the demand of something or the supply of something, right?
Everyone needs to go to whoever Skybound's using, like seriously.
Yes. Amen.
Like the paper quality is like you could throw those books around, and
just 10 photos all day long.
I wasn't saying what I just said about Marvel's current paper in a negative light. It's just like when you have books coming out at the same time from DC and Skybound, like you said, and these quality papers are just insane. It's like, Marvel, come on, step it up. You know what I mean?
They're just trying to make sure it's going to have scarce numbers already.
Well,
they're just making sure
they've had a really
those ratios are super duper rare now.
I hear that they've had a really tough time. They can only make it like a couple billion every year now. So
that's
I hear that paper disintegrates after 5.5 years. It just magically disappears, and your comic's gone.
It's like that underwear that dissolves in water, or the swimsuits that dissolve in water.
Oh my goodness!
You haven't seen those?
That explains everything. Oh man,
look it up. It is a fun practical joke that people do. Like their spouses will buy their husbands these swimsuits. Anyway,
that's hilarious. But I'm concerned, Matt. Continue.
This is what I do in my time, Lando. My time.
You ever see the clips where they use the golf ball that explodes when they hit it, when they drive with it?
Yes, that I've seen.
Yeah, like that. Those are fun.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. All right, number eight. What could it be? It's a total. I'm looking at the photo right now, and it's like nostalgic to that time. 100% with Hawkeye coming out.
Yep.
So at the time, this is one of the books that I spec'd on. I think I have 6 copies, and I still have 6 copies. So let's go back to 2021. The trailer for the Disney miniseries Hawkeye had just dropped. This is 3 years ago. And people were going bananas over this little snippet of Kate Bishop in the Ronin suit that was shown in the trailer. Yeah. And that just sent everyone right back to this issue, which is technically, was it the first appearance of Ronin? I forget what this one was, but at least she dons the suit, and that was enough to send people grabbing this book. And there was some thought maybe it'll be a bigger thing in the MCU. Ronin might stick around. It bumped around up to $50 for Raw, $220 for a 9.8. Now we know, Hawkeye was pretty successful, but it's kind of like, we're waiting for the next thing, right? And we're especially waiting for the return of Kate Bishop. We did see her at the Marvel's end credit scene, but it's hard to remember because it's like we all try to wash Marvel's out of our head. But it was, we know now that Ronin's kind of gone, and the market is reflecting that. So now near-mint copies of this are worth about $11, and 9.8s are about $66. It's a bust, but what do you guys think? Is Ronin coming back? They did sell the suit, right? Was it destroyed, or did they sell it?
I believe it was sold within the show.
So hey, maybe they're still around.
It was reclaimed because Hawkeye got it back.
Oh, did he get? Then did he? Oh, he destroyed it, right? He did destroy it.
Yeah, because it was that was the whole thing, right? It was about getting that in the watch and all the fun stuff. Hawkeye was my second favorite Disney Plus show.
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I loved Hawkeye. Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova, all like that is the teammates that I ship in all of Marvel right now. I don't care about anybody. Even I would honestly, I've had Deadpool and Wolverine now, but now I need on the big screen. I need Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova. I'm not gonna lie, I loved them in that show. They were
really good.
They were it was
ridiculous.
Cool chemistry and stuff.
Yeah.
This was the first appearance of Echo as Ronin, right? In the comic book, anyway.
Maya Lopez.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I always thought she was like one of the badass, like the coolest characters, and I didn't really like her in the show for the Hawkeye one. But she's like she's like Taskmaster. She has photographic muscle memory, right? And so
I feel like they watered her down a little too much for the show. I mean, the actress is good, but I feel like we got a lesser version of her.
Yeah, when she first premiered, I guess, or her first appearance was with Daredevil, and she was trying to get this whole revenge. It's such a great story. Like, I thought they were going to bring that in, so I was a little let down. But I love the Hawkeye thing. I know, Matt, you brought this up over and over again in that show where you see minute for minute clip of the Avengers movie from her perspective as a kid watching the battle in New York.
One of my favorite pieces. Yeah.
It's like, correct me if I'm wrong. It was like minute for minute or second for second, like lined up.
What I wish they did for the Eternals was that they would have gone back and you would have seen their hand in every single Marvel film that came out. And they would have been there the whole time manipulating the events. That's what I was hoping with the Eternals, and we didn't even get a little bit of it.
Man, I could go on an entire thing. We can do a full episode about what I think Eternals should have been, and this is a very big point because it's a missed opportunity. But to go back to what Phil was talking about, Hawkeye and of course Kate Bishop. Haley
Yeah,
Steinfeld.
it's a Christmas
guys.
classic now, right?
It is. It is a Christmas classic. And you know what? I was talking with somebody today, good friend of mine, Chia Pet, and we were going back and forth, and he was talking about Hawkeye and how good it was. And his main thing was, I love Christmas. Maybe that's what it is. And I'm like, dude, it's a Christmas hit. It is. You want to watch it every Christmas.
It's got a
also
dog.
like-
It's
Okay.
got some of the best chemistry in Marvel.
Yeah.
It's Christmas, you know.
But
The
we gotta
Guardians
give-
Christmas didn't work for me though, so
Yeah,
maybe it's
yeah.
not just Christmas.
Yeah. But I do want to shout out Haley Steinfeld because she has not only played Kate Bishop, guys, she's also Spider-Gwen in the Sony universe. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. That's cool. It definitely goes down as one of those kind of off Christmas movies like Gremlins or Die Hard. You know, like, it's like it's not Christmas, but it's Christmas.
Yeah, Die Hard's Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says.
All right, guys, we're about halfway through. I know we're only number 7, so we do need to we'll pick it up a little bit.
Let's go.
I'll read a little bit faster here. So our next one, we got Ultimate Fallout 4. This book is always on and off our list. It is one of those books where we've seen this rise and fall over the past couple of years. But what's interesting is that this was just when it was starting to make its. Actually, it was just hitting its high. At $700 raw, $2,600 for 9.8. And now, in hindsight, yes, it's a bust. 3 years later, it's gone down 400 raw, 950, and 9.8s have dropped to 950. Again, this goes back to what we were talking about. This is a core character, a hugely important Marvel character. It's a lot of generations new Spider-Man. This is an evergreen book now. This will always hold value. I'm not too concerned about these prices. If anything, it tells me this might be a time to buy. If you go back 5 years, this was $100 book raw and $300 in a 9.8. So you got to remember that the journey that this book, it all depends on when you jumped into it, right? What your personal ROI is on this book. If you bought in it, it's at $700, you might have to wait a couple years, right, before it gets back to that. Yeah. But it's again goes back to simple ergonomics. You got to be in the right position. No, economics. And you got to remember, this had a huge print run. There's a lot of copies out there, and when demand is slow, prices are going to drop. It's just what it's going to do. But that doesn't mean people are not interested in this book, or they don't want a copy. It just means there's a lot of copies out there to choose from. But I would love to hear what you guys think. This is a big one.
Oh boy, Phil, you want to kick it off?
I'll let you kick off. I've got my own perspective on this, so I'll let you go.
So Miles Morales is a guaranteed staple. He's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. We are eventually going to get him in live action. I don't care what anybody says. The Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse, which we're all anticipating, needs to end in that manner where we get him in live action. So I think once that does happen, and it's inevitable, I think the book's going to explode again. So kind of like what Matt was saying, it's a book that has its ups and its downs, and it's constantly on and off of the lists. I think even when you're checking out CovrPrice runner-ups, it's always somewhere there. So yeah, this is a book and a character that no doubt you have Miles, you got Gwen. They're not going anywhere, guys. That's the reality. Now, when it comes to this book in particular, what actually surprises me is that everybody talks Miles Morales. Nobody, even with what's happening right now in comics, mentions the Maker. Yeah. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. But
villain Spec is always iffy, right? So that's why,
Yeah.
But
maybe,
But you're not wrong. I mean, it is a very nice double first appearance.
Yes.
If you don't count Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Number one.
Yeah. This is in modern comics, especially. This is one of the grails of modern comics, in my opinion. Right. This ranks up there with, in my opinion, too, like Harley Quinn. This, there's a lot of modern characters that have been introduced over the last 20 some years that will be here for a while. Miles is one of them. I do think Spider-Gwen's getting there as well too. But I do think from a Marvel perspective, Miles has been the biggest ascent into that pantheon of characters that they can begin to bank and build more around, Miles is definitely it. And I am excited too. I mean, there's the rumors now of the Sony Marvel deal. I mean, some people probably know more about these things than I do, but including Tom Holland's new contract with Zendaya, being inked to an additional 3 movies, a new trilogy coming, that could be a perfect introduction to get a live action Miles across the universe with Secret Wars, things of that nature.
Guys, my creative juices are flying through the roof when it comes to Miles and stuff, man. Yes, especially Secret Wars. You have the symbiote. You got the possibility of Miles Morales. The timeline of the movies are all lined up for a great opportunity. Who knows? But, just one thing I want to mention about Miles and Gwen. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. My 4-year-old, I'm the biggest Spidey fan. Well, I like to put myself up as one of, but I have everything Spider-Man. My kid, my oldest, fell in love with Miles Morales before Peter Parker. That's all I'm going to say.
It's streaming.
Yeah. I see your second print Ultimate Fallout 4 behind you.
It's there.
My daughter's got her Spider-Gwen in her bedroom right there in her nice little slabby slab. So
that's right.
Before we move on, Johnny, you have any thoughts?
I mean, I think you said it all. I mean, honestly, we just keep seeing this like a perennial like comic book. It always comes up. He's such a mainstay in the universe. The highest we've tracked at CovrPrice.com was in 2022 for I think $4,500 for 9.8, I believe. And I
Wow, the popcorn buckets. You and your popcorn bucket.
I've got popcorn buckets, guys. All right.
So, get the popcorn, bro. Let's go.
Where's the popcorn go?
Me and popcorn buckets is pretty much the only reason people watch my channel anymore is for popcorn buckets.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I think I mean it's just such a good investment. I think you nailed it on the head when you said like, now's a good time to buy. It's going down. The attention on him is lower right now. So buy it up. It's a great time. Maybe we'll buy back the ones you gave away for the cover price.
I know, it still kills me. I gave 3 away in our early days. Phil, is your Dune bucket in the dishwasher?
No. But I've got my bat signal over here. If you
that one is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But that's not a popcorn bucket. That's just
it's just every day.
Phil gets his. There's one point I wanted to make. Can we just reflect that like this is a 13-year-old book and it sells for $400 raw, $9.15 to $9.8.
Yeah.
That's
good.
It is very good.
Box signal is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
If you said it about any book, you'd be like, that's good, right?
It's phenomenal.
No, it probably and considering how high it got, it's market wise and ratio in my mind, it's right there with just any other market correction that's been kind of just happening since this time. It's still on par to be, honestly, it's still gonna be one of the biggest books we've had.
Phil, careful using the word ratio with this book though, because that ratio also took a serious dive.
Well, things get crazy at that point, but depends on how people start spending crazy money.
I mean, if you have 15 grand, who cares? Like, look, I'm not in that market, so whatever. Do what you need to do. I'm not even in the $5,000 market, so we'll.
I'm topping out the $15 market right now. Okay,
right.
So that's as much as I'm going to spend on a trade.
I'm with Phil.
All right, we got 20 minutes here. Next book.
Real quick, late night .comics had a great point. He said, "Don't buy it. Be careful. There's a ton of facsimiles now for this."
A lot of new buyers really fall into that trap because they made it look identical. There's only very slight differences in the little
the red
barcode. Yeah, they made it look very close to it, which is ridiculous. So a lot of new buyers end up buying that, and I mean, hopefully they've realized some of them have caught it early. I'm sure some didn't, and that would be really disappointing.
Just real quick at Cover Price, we showcase
a lot. Yeah,
we won't get into it because we're running out of time. But I mean, let's see, just all of these right over here.
Yeah, I got a kid to pick up at 8, or leave at 8.
All right. Moving on.
All right. So we got next. We got White number 3.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting that White
man.
number 3 came up, but it was following up on the Black on the series Black. White dropped us into the world. This is Black Mass Studios, by the way, 2021. White dropped us into the world that had 3 years to deal with the revelation that only Black people had superhuman abilities. In the meantime, United States responded by electing Theodore Mann to be president, and it just kind of was tapped into what was kind of. There was some comparison to what was going on in politics at the time. There was a lot of positive buzz around this series and this issue, particularly. It had a small print run, and people were hunting it down. It wasn't an easy book to find, which is why it had the surge. And because when people can't find a book and they want to read it, they will pay premiums for it because they want it and they want to read it. They don't want to just wait for the trade to come out 2 years later. So they pumped this one up to $43. Of course, no, there's no graded sales. Now 3 years later, it's now $15 for a near-mint copy because those who wanted a copy got their copies. 9.8, the most recent 9.8 sold for like $20, which is it's kind of crazy that they're the same price. I think it was just an auction that ended low because not a lot of people are looking for this book. It's a bust, but I still think $15 is still reasonable. It's obviously the story was good enough that it's still sustaining that price.
Yeah, but I remember when White came out, a lot of people were trying to chase and find the series Black. It was hard. And it was very hard to come across because it was relatively scarce and still is. So, seeing the drop is kind of impressive because I really thought even at that point in time it was going to hold and do well for a long term. This particular issue, this cover, well, you could see even Donald Trump made that table. There he is. You see him at the
yeah, that's right. He's on it. Yeah. Is that Kanye too? Yeah.
But the series itself, I highly recommend everybody.
I never even caught that. I never even noticed that Donald Trump was on the cover. That's a good catch, Lindo.
He's there, but definitely read Black, and I suggest you read White as well because of the hype behind Black. When I saw this was hitting FOC, it was a no-brainer, man. From issue 1 and on, I was making sure to pre-order because I knew this was going to happen. Now, did I expect this drop? No, I didn't.
Well, I think a lot of things fall out of people's mind and psyche. It's not like a series that's highly talked about. It's not a series that people promote like, oh, look at my haul. I found Black and White. Like, it's not a book that's in front of people. But here you go. It is a really interesting read. We do recommend it, but you might have to do a little legwork and try and track them down. But it is worth reading.
Shall we? I know for time's sake, should we move on?
Phil, do you have anything? Yeah. Okay.
No, I have nothing to add. Nothing
this next one's going to be a bigger conversation.
Yeah,
it was a good book, but
a lot of buzz about this one.
Oh baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now so, this is something we can all spend about 45 minutes on.
Yeah, we can spend a whole show on this, and we might just end up doing that. So obviously playing off the heat of Hawkeye speculation, Kate Bishop showed up. We had Ant-Man's daughter. What was her name?
Kate?
Kate? Cassie?
We had Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah. We had Falcon Winter Soldier too.
Right.
When we had
And we had Isaiah's grandson. He popped up in Falcon
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had Kate Bishop show up. We had I was gonna say Hulkling, but that was Hulk's son with the terrible hair.
Oh, Scar.
Scar.
Yeah.
But we had Patriot. We had so there were these makings, basically this promise, almost like this promise that there was a Young Avengers team building, right? And they've been dangling this carrot for it feels like 6 years now.
Yeah.
But when Kate Bishop showed up, it was like, oh my God, this is going to happen. And this was hitting $400 for near-mint copies. We put it settled to like $380, $1167 for a 9.8. 3 years later, man, it's like Young Avengers. What we haven't seen, there hasn't been even talk of Young Avengers film, which is kind of crazy. They've dangled all these carrots, but they haven't finished that thought process. So now it's 57 raw. It's 241 and a 9.8. I mean, it's kind of crazy. For me, I thought this was going to be one of the biggest books of the future of Marvel.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there now.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'll keep it short and sweet and just speak
Yeah.
based on the in-your-face stuff, right? With the movies and the shows that are on Disney Plus. We tend to forget as well. Like the Marvels came out, right? And in that post-credit scene, what did we see? We finally saw Miss Marvel with Kate Bishop, and immediately everybody was like, yeah, here we go. They're putting the pieces together, right? We're gonna be getting the Young Avengers. I think that collectors today, especially, we went through the pandemic with pandemic numbers. Now that we're back to normal, collectors are way more selective on the stuff they actually care about. So
Yeah.
is it that? Is it now, Young Avengers? Okay, we'll probably get it in time relatively soon, but do we care? Right. And I think a lot of people are trying to like navigate and really select the characters they care for. Am I going to drop 300 on the Young Avengers, or can I get myself a second print of Miles Morales? Like I think that's what's going on within the market right now.
I think this is also the height of when speculation started to seriously shift in this last phase of Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden Marvel was dropping an Easter egg every episode of a weekly TV show for over a year,
And
plus
no
their
follow-through.
movies. And honestly, we're still waiting for Shang-Chi to make his damn way back.
Right.
We're waiting. We're waiting on so many other characters.
Right.
And you've got the talking heads like us out there on YouTube going like, "In the new Avengers are coming. It's gonna be the next. There's gonna be the champions. It's gonna be the whatever." Every time we see a new Easter egg, it's the thing going. And this is kind of where some of us need to take our ADD meds in the morning and remember just to kind of breathe our breathing techniques. But this was different though. I mean, I still think we were coming back from what we were used to being able to do with Marvel and just getting a movie every other quarter or once a year, and all of a sudden that kind of speculation had staying power. But it was the advent of Marvel in Disney Plus television shows where all of a sudden there was new speculation and changes every single week, and it might have been a curveball, like we got with when we got bonered with WandaVision and stuff like that. So in my opinion, this has kind of fallen victim to that. I believe that Young Avengers will probably happen one day, but at the same time too, I've got a feeling, they'll be champions before they go by the Young Avengers line. I've got a feeling they're going to keep Avengers pretty sacred for a while with Marvel.
Those are really great points. And I think that's exactly why there's so many things that they can do moving forward that they haven't. Like there hasn't even been a whisper anymore of of the words Young Avengers. We haven't seen, to your point, there hasn't been any follow through on any of those characters that we were teased. Where's Star Fox? Where's the Eternals? Where's Pit Patrol? There's so many characters that we're still itching to see again, let alone introduce the Hulkling and we did see Wiccan and Speed. Is that his brother?
Is it Speed?
I forget what was his brother's name.
Sorry, who are we?
The
Wanda and Vision's kids. It was Wiccan and I thought it was Speed, but
my god, chat can help us out.
It's Speed.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. I mean,
one person doubts, and we all start doubting ourselves.
Maybe they'll reappear on Agatha. I don't know. It doesn't seem in line with that. But
I think Wiccan's going to be.
Wiccan is
Wiccan's in it. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure like him, unless we're getting Ralph Bohnert again. That's my only.
That's true. I mean, this is still their first appearance. It's a group. It's not only just the first appearance of the group. It's the first appearance of like 6 different characters who are still in Marvel. Again, it's great. I mean, right now it's great prices. Like I couldn't remember when the last time it was below $80. Like, and right now we're at 57. So right now, if you can get a deal at like $40-$50, it's a great pickup.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. Overhype. I'm not overhype, but too many things introduced. It's like what do you even focus on? Yeah. But moving on, number 4.
Let's jump back into the Eternals a little bit. In 2021, everyone was all hyped up. We were probably 2 months away from Eternals film. And we were like, oh, we're getting Dane Whitman. And they're like, let's be clear, we got Dane Whitman. You know, everyone thought we were getting Black Knight. And so people were all over his first appearance. Of course, his first appearance was very expensive. So they jumped into the more accessible 1990 version. And then even in the more recent ones, there was a lot of good variants for the more recent Black Knight series. But this was hitting $50 for a near mint raw, $375 for a 9.8. I mean, people were digging through 90s boxes to get this, which was silly. 3 years later, Eternals has come and gone. We have still large celestials sitting in the middle of the ocean. We haven't not seen Dane Whitman yet, let alone a Black Knight. We did see his sword. But he told Kit Harington, even told GQ that he thought the role was disappointing. And that makes me worried that as in there's been no development for him since. So it remains unclear what's going to happen with Black Knight. I hope we see him in the future. But this is a bust at $31 now. 62. The hardest drop was the 9.8 to like $62. I don't know if this will have redemption, even if we see Black Knight, because there's other good Black Knight books yet. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if we're going to be realistic with ourselves, there's almost no chance that the majority of us could afford his actual first appearance. So if we're going to look at another book, I think his first solo is definitely a great book. It's a beautiful cover too. I think it's got all the
it
pieces.
Looks older.
Right? It does feel a little bit older, but I think the only thing that's now MCU related gives us any hope. Blade, I think everyone's lost hope. But when it comes to Agatha right now, you have Aubrey Plaza who's there, and we still don't know who she's playing. And I would love for her to be Morgan Le Fay. So
she's Mephisto.
Yeah, Blackheart. Blackheart is
people have been saying Blackheart.
Heavy favorite.
Yeah, I still think it's still Mephisto. I still think it's just another farce. I think it's still Mephisto.
Blackheart, Morgan Le Fay,
Baron Cohen at the end of the episode, and
that would be amazing. But I would love to see Morgan Le Fay, Blackheart, of course, or Cynthia Von Doom. I think if she's either of the three, would be amazing.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Right?
I don't think I think they just switched gears recently, so I think Agatha was too in motion before their pivot.
Yeah. But anyways, I still think this is a great book to have, especially now with the prices coming down, right? Because the hype is gone. So I think it's a great book to have in your collection.
I think it's the Curse of the Eternals, to be totally honest, because I mean, Blade only had a cameo voice, Marshala Ali appearance at the end of that, and he can't get his damn movie made now. I blame the Eternals for this, and it was a decent movie too. It should have been a Disney Plus show. That was the mistake. It was the only movie that should have been a Disney Plus show, and so many of the other shows should have been movies. But that's disappointing. That is disappointing. But it's a good book. It is good character. It deserves to be out there, but it needs to be Blade.
Cool. I sadly don't know much about Black Knight, so I can't even comment except the movie. But and the movie was disappointing in that regard as well. Moving on to number 3.
All right, we'll crank this through. We got like 9 minutes here. All right, so this was Kate Bishop's, I think her first entry into the Hawkeye series. I think I don't think this was the issue where she got the moniker of Hawkeye. I think it was later. It was a separate issue. It was like a giant size issue where she got the moniker. But people were still going to this issue because it had her on the cover. It was a number 1. It's easy when you have casual collectors looking for something, they always go to a number 1. So they were tracking this book down. It took it from the dollar bins to $41 near mint and $270 in a 9.8. I mean, it also has a gorgeous Julian Tedesco cover, which is, that's hard to ignore. But today now that is just with time, I don't think there's anything other than just time has let this fall down to $10 raw, $35 in 9.8, which is a huge drop in the 9.8. But it's just one of those things that people have kind of just forgot about. It's not like people hate it. It's again, people probably got their copies graded. It flooded the market, and those copies have just been sitting for the last 3 years.
It's also the first appearance of Ramon Watts. Later became
Al. Right. Yeah. That doesn't mean much right now, though.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. On the site real quick. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's right.
I'll keep my thoughts insanely short. I still pick up this book simply because Tedesco did a freaking
Yeah.
amazing job on that cover.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. So I'll pick it up every time I see it for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And I like the Venice Boardwalk sign at the bottom back. I never
Yeah.
noticed that until right now.
And
Yeah,
Haley Steinfeld's not going anywhere. She's probably
Yeah.
been one of the best female debut characters
Yeah.
outside of Yelena Belova's new introduction in Marvel. She will not go anywhere. She will be here for a while. And honestly, that book's going to bounce back. Even though I do feel insulted, Matt, just basically called me a casual for having a number one.
No, not a casual. I'm just saying
No, it's okay, Matt.
They didn't go to Young Avengers.
Insult the guest of the show, Matt. Nice.
I love it.
I haven't been here in ages, and all of a sudden I come back and hey, casuals like Phil.
Phil doesn't
You
need
basic.
that.
You basic, Phil.
You're basic.
You and your number one.
But no, it's a great book. It's a great get. That's one of the books on here that I will pick up as well, just like you, Lando. 100% on that.
All right, cool.
All right. Number 2, we're getting close to number 1. What do you think number 2 is?
We'll blaze through this. So Grendel, I mean, this is not the first Grendel. This was the female version of Grendel. I forget her name, but I'm sure I have written down here. There was in 2021, they announced that there was Netflix ordered a Grendel series. And although this is not the first appearance, Primer 2 Comic Co. in 1982 is, this one shot up because there was talk about being a female-based character. It went from it was like $14 raw, $600 and 9.8 because 600 like 9.8s were pretty hard to get by. There was like probably only one listed, which is why it sold for that much. And when people thought like, hey, a Netflix series, this could be a big thing. This book hasn't moved much in 3 years because with the strike happened, Netflix is backed up like crazy. If we do get this as a TV show or a film, we're looking years still before they get back to it, if they do it. If I read further, Netflix canceled plans for the series. And today, 9.8 copies dropped. So again, if you're a Grendel fan, you're not, this is probably an important book in your collection, but not $600 value worth. You're going back to that Comic Co first appearance. So it's a bust. But it's a good cover.
I don't have it. I won't lie. I could make up a story and be like, "Oh, it was very cool," but I don't have it. So,
but she was the Grendel I remembered more.
Yeah,
you were a huge Grendel fan back in the day, Matt. I remember like the
I like Wagner. I like Matt Wagner's stuff.
What I do think is interesting though is how you said, prior to the announcement there was like one on the census, but even after the fact, I'm looking at the census now. There's 18 copies, 17 Universal, 1 Signature Series on the CGC census. So if you don't mind, what was the price right now for a 9.8? $90 with such a low census. That's not a bad buy.
Well, I think it wasn't one on the census. I think it was just probably the only one listed, and some person was just eager to be like, I gotta get this now. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what that high price was just someone eagerly picking it up.
Yeah, but no, I think it's a good buy.
$90 is a good buy right now. To your point, if it's that low of a census, yeah, that's a good book.
Yeah.
What year did
that's
that
good insight?
1986. Yeah. All right. Well, don't forget we're giving away The Moon is Following Us, and if you want to enter, now's the time to do so. Into the comments, you have a very good chance of winning because this is a surprise show that kind of pops up and not a lot of live viewers. So it's very good odds. Type in #ghost into the comments and you will be entered, and we'll do the drawing in about 5 minutes or so.
Is it #ghost or #moon?
Sorry, #moon. What am I saying? I hit the wrong one.
People are already putting
Ghost is from last week.
Oh shoot, yeah, my bad. I'm taking Ghost down. It's #moon. I'll fix that as you guys
take it away.
Talk about this amazing number 1.
It's still up on the screen.
I see.
I got it. There we go.
Okay. I was gonna say it's still up there. A99. Oh, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
There we go.
#moon. If you put hashtag, you will win nothing.
There we go. #moon, guys.
Ghost moon. #ghost moon.
Ghost moon.
Doesn't mean anything, but sure, it's nice to see the
chat for the win. Ghost moon.
All right, while you guys are doing that, we'll keep going. So Iron Man 12, if you remember, I feel like this was the cover that put Raza on the map for fans.
I'd agree.
I mean, this was you know,
Well, that
felt
Predator cover though was pretty.
yeah, absolutely. But this was interesting, an interesting take on Miles. Like DJ fans were all over this. I remember Tim, got, you know, rest in peace, Tim, from Lords of the Long Box. He was all over this book.
Yeah.
And I think everyone else, a lot of people were chasing it. It was selling for like $20, $100 and a 9.8. You know, in terms of like all the Miles variants, in terms of everything on this list, you know, $11 raw, 36. I mean, the 9.8 is a big drop to $36, but $11 raw, you know, okay, you lost half your value. But again, this was a very prevalent book. It was out there, you know, there were a lot of copies out there.
And a lot of people got this for cover price, man.
Yep,
So I
yep.
mean, like,
Yeah, right.
I had like
right.
a stack of these things when they came out, and
Same.
but not as a flipper. I was giving stuff away. You know, it was
Right,
kind of one of those
right.
things. But that was a book that, just like a lot of others, if you're paying attention and you see something cool, you get to the LCS, and either it's already in your pull list, and if it's not, you're hopefully cool with the owner, and he maybe lets you get one or two.
Yeah.
You know, at least more than one. But in that case, it was, yeah, it's a tremendous cover. It was a tremendous, you know, yes, it definitely put Raza on the map, in my opinion, as well too. But it was, I still sell that book. Like when I do shows and Theo and
It's a
I
great
are
cover.
traveling, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. That book sells. We find them in a box. It's gone. It's gone every single time. And it'll still sell for $15 to $20, depending on the room. But it's and the condition, obviously, because it's Marvel. But it's it's that's a beaut.
Yeah, this is one I saw it on FOC. I ordered several copies just because, one, it's a fire cover. It's absolutely amazing. But seeing an all black cover always concerns me. So I made sure if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get a few copies so I have my options for a high grade. But the only thing I hate about this cover is how it says Iron Man at the top. And it's Miles on deck. That's the only thing. The only thing that salvages it is that
He's
there's a little Iron Man bubble
on his DJ board there.
That's the only thing that salvages it for me.
I mean,
But
his jacket has the colors of Iron Man, right?
Yeah, I know, but I just hate it. I hate books when the character on the front has nothing to do with the title, but Raza absolutely crushed it.
This is a book that will go against the nature of the current market, but patience. Let it sit for 10 years in your box and just let it do its thing. Let it just sit there. It's a great cover. It'll always be a great cover. You'll be fine. Just forget you have it.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing cover. It's just it's not even an homage. It's just like real life cool. It's got so many things going for it. Like you can see the character like actually DJing and doing something. You know, it's I don't know. I love it. I think it's really cool.
All right.
All right.
Let's roll that giveaway.
All right. If you haven't entered, you're getting 30 seconds to enter #Moon. We have 10 people in the giveaway, and there's 20 or 40 people watching.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing? Get in there. #Moon. Type it into the comments.
I gotta go. Just run it.
All right. Here we go. If you win, you'll have to reach out to Matt or me over at John at CovrPrice or Matt at CovrPrice.com. And here we go. Drawing it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Collector 34 got in there right at the neck of that.
Nice. And the winner of the moon following us.
Boom! Wayne!
Wayne Young.
Wayne Young tonight.
There you go, guys.
Congrats. Mr. Wayne.
Congrats, Wayne.
Yeah, if you can, DM us on our Instagram or reach out to me at john@coverprice.com, and I will check your CoverPrice account to make sure it's you, and we'll get your shipping information. We'll get that out to you.
And I got a couple books here to send you, so you'll get the first print with it as well.
All right. Well, on that fun note, I want to thank all the amazing guys who joined. Phil.
Yeah, thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you guys so much. As always, Matt, you're an amazing host and knowledge compendium of comics, as always.
Oh, yeah.
Any last words from you guys?
Phil, take it away, sir.
Nothing crazy going on. Thank you guys for joining. It's always great to see the homies from Comics and Chaos make it out for new shows and meeting these awesome people. Obviously, if you don't know Lando from Black Crown, he's got his own amazing YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking him out. Like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, the boys at CovrPrice, longtime friends and family. And you can catch me on Fantast this week doing some interviews, getting ready for Selling Superman, which is dropping soon. So
yeah, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah,
got
you
some
come
big
back on the
news
show
dropping tomorrow, and
come back on the show and tell us about that whole entire process, because I know that's a story.
it's a story, and we're going to be doing a lot more. And now that I'm now working at Fantast, so I'm a part of the Fantast family, and we're going to be producing lives and content every week. So there's going to be lots of new stuff coming with the Fantast YouTube channel. So stay tuned there as Darren will probably be touring around as well. So, fun stuff.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks
All
so much.
right.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Have a great night.